The topic for this class is what is truly implied um, with this concept of stillness. I don't like cliches. The fact is, if I may, I kind of hate them. And if you hear a concept like stillness, it might seem very, you know, as a high spiritual ideal. And uh, given our day-to-day activities, how can uh, that the concept of stillness be something we live with all throughout the day? Does it mean that we have to wear robes to work and move very slowly and say namaste to everything? No. But I do want to share my experience of how stillness is still useful, and you can say how the qualities of stillness, what they become when life is in motion, you can say. And when we are still in the midst of having a split mind, as the Course would say, we have a part of us is in touch with the light, and a part of us is in total darkness, and it actually enjoys that darkness. So stillness isn't a high ideal that we either must, um, fulfill that ideal, adhere to, or not. It's more like it. It's a thing of process as well. Um, but the thing is, do we have faith in stillness? Have we made stillness our friend? Don't we have more faith in books, philosophies, teachings? You know, as Bill said, he talked about Ken Wapnick and A Course in Miracles as being my main path. That's right. But there's something closer to my heart than them, than the teachings of that. It is stillness. It is quietness. It is beauty. It is slowness. Because that can be experienced here and now, no matter where I am. The teachings of A Course in Miracles, I'm not carrying the book around me wherever I go. And Ken's work, I don't carry them around me wherever I go. But quietness can be there when I do the dishes, when I talk to somebody, when I ride the bike. And to know that stillness can be there in every situation, that is so beautiful that you even lose the notion that you have to be enlightened. Because it's like you have the qualities of enlightenment already then. You don't become still. You don't become still. You notice that stillness is already there. But you notice how afraid you are from it. I want to share the objections we have of stillness. It is boring. It is not exciting. It does not affirm my personal hopes, desires, and what I think is important in life. If our voice is this, stillness voice is something else. We either come to stillness or we're lost. Or let's say we drop our voice and let stillness just be. But you see, we associate stillness with sacrifice. There is a what about me-ness. If I adhere to stillness, what about me? If we really knew the beauty and benefits of stillness, we'd happily let go of the me. But we think me is more worthwhile. We think me makes us happy. Stillness doesn't object. It says, go right ahead. It even says, why don't you let some of me come with you on that journey? Because that journey will hurt you. Why don't you have a helping hand and guide on the way? But at some point, the more we, that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying two things. A part of us can drop the me fully and say, oh, stillness is all I wanted. Why didn't I go here before? But another part of us, which we must respect, is what about the times where I'm not ready to drop the me? Can I still be in touch with stillness? And that answer is yes. And you better make it a yes. Because life without that quality is very hard, it's brutal, and you don't deserve to do that to yourself. Forget enlightenment. It's too of a high ideal to burden yourself with. Consider stillness a friend that is always there for you, no matter what you do. Even if you don't practice, even if you don't read whatever path you are on. The fact is, even if you say, I'm just gonna Netflix and chill, eat ice cream and watch Netflix, my favorite show for 8 hours straight throughout the day, you can still let stillness be part of that. It's just a kind and gentle embrace. That kind, slow, and gentle embrace should not be underestimated. It does so much. This has happened for me like maybe 7 or 10 years ago. That if I watch something on TV or do something, I I must pause it, even if the movie is interesting. I must pause it just to be still, not for the sake of realigning myself. It's just that I actually miss stillness. It all happened by just giving stillness tiny shots, and eventually I became in love with it. And then when the ego excites me, Hakim, you can get this or do that, or why don't you think of this? And what about that attractive lady, right? Uh, Stillness actually is kinder to me than all of those things. Life here is very up and down. Stillness is serene and calm. It's very harsh for me to choose up and down when I notice that there is something calm. I have only noticed the calmness by giving it 0.01% each time. I didn't give it 25%, 75%, or 100%. I gave it 0.01%. But eventually, we become in love with that. And we all have done this. That's why we're here. For every thought you have that you consider, important, that you think this says something, this means something, know that in the heart of stillness, it means nothing. Nothing that we can come up with has any bearing on stillness. Nothing, no teaching can say anything that stillness doesn't already encompass. No words can be higher than stillness. What am I even doing here with you? Stillness is enough, right? But I can share that I have come to see, as many of us have, we are afraid of the stillness and we think it's not enough for us. We want something else. So that is the predicament. So if we go into the second phase means, okay, let's buy into this idea then that stillness can kind of work for us. How would that come about? How would that look? Let's say you're confronted with something that seems a bit startling. It shakes your grounds, your foundations. And you think, if I just think about this, I might, it might do me some good. That can be true if we're stubborn enough, and please don't take that the wrong way, but we are all stubborn. Sometimes we don't go to stillness, we want to delve into an analysis and read books on a particular topic, ask a question to a teacher that the stillness in us can answer. That is fine. But what if we say, I am afraid. I think this thing is important. I'm too afraid to go to stillness. I want an intermediary. I want something in between. I want a teddy bear. I don't mean that derogatory. I just want some help. A child uses a teddy bear to eventually come to a point where the child doesn't need the teddy bear. The teddy bear acts as a symbol of strength that the child is not ready to encompass, to see that the strength is within them. Eventually, the child grows up to see the strength I projected to the teddy bear was always within me, but I wasn't ready to accept it. That's what all teachings are. So we are free to delve, to think, to analyze, do whatever we think is worthwhile. And it's worth doing it because it respects our fear. If we don't respect our fear, we will only fight further with our life and bring in more conflict. But stillness says this: why don't you give me a chance? And we say, okay, I'll give you a chance. What are you going to say about it? That is us taking the lead role again. That is us getting behind the steering wheel. That is us saying, we want to know. You better prove to me, stillness, that you're worthwhile, that I can listen to you. We don't give it, we don't trust it to do as it wants to. We still want to manage it. That means we still want to be in control. We can't become loving. Lovingness takes care of us and owns us. We think life is supposed to work a certain way, but love doesn't abide by those rules. Love is completely free to contradict itself, to even go against a teaching itself. It is not bound by rules, dogmas, rituals, and whatever has worked before that it should work now. No, it's ready to drop everything at any second if it's needed. But that means our defenses get lost. So if we are to trust stillness, we say, you better do what I want you to do and respect my fears and defenses. Now, here's the thing, stillness actually does that. Stillness doesn't scare you. It's it is an expansion that only expands to the degree we're ready to expand. It doesn't push us further than we're ready for. We push ourselves. We say, we want this, this should be done. Stillness says, you've done enough. What if you can be done too now? Imagine if you have 16 children, you can't pay your bills, and you're going to a social worker saying, what should I do? I plan to have more kids. The social worker should say, maybe you've done enough, Don't do anything. That is what stillness says to us. Maybe you've done enough. Why don't you let me do for you? At that moment, we become, okay, I'll let you do it. Let me tell me what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna see and report what you're gonna do. We look at it like that. We want assurances. Once again, we haven't set stillness free. To trust in stillness means to be humble that our ways has not worked, and just maybe entertain the possibility that something else can. Once again, stillness is not appealing. It doesn't proclaim anything. It doesn't advertise anything. Stillness is stillness. It's quiet. It's even boring, you could argue. But it doesn't hurt. The fact is, it's the only thing that doesn't hurt. Why don't we trust it? Haven't we trust ourselves enough by now? Our ways hasn't worked before, and they should all of a sudden work now? How many times throughout the day does our self-concept change? Somebody says the right thing to us, self-concept feels a certain way. Stillness is not bound to that. Stillness doesn't change. If God is eternity and formless, what comes close to that? That which doesn't change. Stillness is unaffected. Stillness says, your love cannot be diminished. Your lovability cannot be diminished. Your peace of mind cannot be diminished. I am still here. Will you acknowledge me or not? You are free to not acknowledge me. You can go and do whatever you want to do. But I kind of work. I wait here. There's nothing you can, there's nothing we can do here in the world that has any, that can one up stillness in any way. There's no insight you can have that is better than stillness. There is no beautiful sentence that has anything on stillness. If you have low IQ, it doesn't matter. You still have stillness. If you have zero talents, it doesn't matter. You still have stillness. If you have no family members around you, maybe you're at a particular age, your grandchildren doesn't come and visit you, well, you still have stillness. Health is declining, still have stillness. Stocks are going down, stillness is not going down. Emotions is going high and up and down, stillness is not going up and down, even if the emotions are. You haven't done a spiritual practice for a long time. Well, stillness is there all time. Stillness teaches you nothing can change.